Listen to me. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants freedom. But only 1% are willing to keep searching for their purpose when life punches them in the mouth. See, most people stop the moment they get tired. They stop when the road gets dark. But the 1%, they keep walking through a storm. They keep digging when everyone else puts down the shovel. You know what separates winners from the rest? It's not talent, it's not money, it's not luck, it's purpose. Purpose gives you a reason to get up when life knocks you down. Purpose gives you fuel when the tank is empty. Purpose gives you direction when you can't see the way forward. Some of you wake up every day asking, oh, why am I not where I want to be? I'll tell you why. You gave up searching for your purpose too soon. You started chasing a paycheck, not your calling. You started listening to fear, not your heart. Listen, your purpose is not found in comfort, it's found in struggle. You find it when you fail, when you cry, when you get broken, and you decide, I'm not quitting until I understand why I was created. The 1% understands something powerful. Life doesn't give clarity first, it gives chaos first. And only the ones who keep going through the chaos ever get to see their purpose clearly. You want to be great? Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Start moving with purpose even when you don't have all the answers. Because purpose reveals itself only to those who refuse to stop searching. So hear me? Stop scrolling. Stop complaining. Stop comparing. Look in the mirror and say, I will not die without finding my purpose. Because once you find that purpose, once you find that fire, you become unstoppable. Your purpose is calling, but most people are too busy chasing comfort to answer. Don't be like the 99%. Be the 1% that never stops searching. Be the 1% that refuses to settle. Be the 1% that wakes up every day with hunger, with focus, with faith. Because when you find your purpose, you don't need permission. You become the permission. You don't need motivation. You become the motivation. And that's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the changers, and the 99% from the 1%. So I'm telling you, search until you find it. Cry until you grow. Fail until you learn. Because purpose doesn't come easy. That's why only 1% ever find it. Purpose is the fuel of greatness. It's the difference between someone who wakes up and just exists and someone who wakes up and lives. It's the invisible fire that makes ordinary people do extraordinary things. You can't fake it, you can't borrow it, and you can't buy it. Purpose is something that burns inside of you, a whisper that keeps calling your name even when you try to ignore it. It's what keeps you moving when the whole world tells you to stop. You can lose money, lose people, lose energy, but if you still have your purpose, you can rebuild everything from nothing. See, people think greatness is about talent, about being gifted or being born into the right family. But purpose is the great equalizer. Purpose doesn't care where you come from, it only cares where you're willing to go. Purpose takes a person with no degree, no support, no connections, and says, if you've got heart, if you've got fire, I'll take you there. That's why you see people who came from nothing rise to something unbelievable. They didn't find power, they found purpose. When you have purpose, you don't need motivation every day. Motivation fades. It's like a spark, bright for a moment, but gone when the wind blows. Purpose is different. It's a flame that stays lit even in a storm. You might cry, you might stumble, but you'll never stop moving. Because when you know why you're doing something, the how to break you anymore, every morning you wake up with purpose, you wake up with power. You don't hit snooze, you don't make excuses, you don't look for shortcuts. You move because you know this life isn't random, it's a mission. People without purpose wake up tired because they're fighting battles that don't matter. But when you have purpose, you wake up grateful even when you're tired because you know your struggle is shaping something greater. Listen to me. Purpose is the fuel of greatness because it gives pain a reason. Without purpose, pain just feels like punishment. With purpose, pain becomes preparation. When you fall, it's not failure, formation. You start to see rejection as redirection. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, try me. Because you know deep inside, this struggle is carving out the version of you that was meant to change the world. The problem is most people want greatness, but don't want the grind that comes with it. They want the results of purpose, but not the responsibility of it. Purpose doesn't show up when it's easy. It shows up when it's hard. It shows up when everyone leaves, when nobody claps, when you're alone and questioning everything. Purpose whispers or keep going. It tells you in this moment it's building you for something bigger. Think about the legends, the people whose names we still remember long after they're gone. They weren't driven by comfort, fame, or money. They were driven by purpose. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't march for attention. He marched for justice. Nelson Mandela didn't spend 27 years in prison because it was easy. He did it because purpose wouldn't let him stop. Purpose doesn't ask for comfort. It demands commitment. When you walk in your purpose, you walk different. You move with confidence even when there's no applause. You stay focused even when the world's distracted, because you know you're not just existing. You're fulfilling something that was planted in your soul before you were even born. And I need you to hear me. Purpose doesn't always feel good. It will test you. It will stretch you. It will take everything you got. Sometimes you'll cry yourself to sleep wondering if it's even worth it. But purpose is not about feeling good. It's about doing good. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle the blessing you're asking for. Every single person was born with purpose. The problem is most people bury it under fear, under doubt, under comfort. They trade their calling for convenience. They chase validation instead of vision. They follow trends instead of truth. That's why the world is full of people who are busy but not fulfilled. Because activity doesn't equal purpose. You can be running fast in the wrong direction. If you're waking up and you feel empty, it's not because you're lazy. It's because you're disconnected from your purpose. You're chasing things that don't feed your soul. You're trying to fill a spiritual hunger with material things. You're working hard, but for what? Purpose gives meaning to your hustle. It gives life to your effort. It reminds you that every step, every setback, every season has significance. And don't get it twisted. Purpose isn't found in a title, a job, or a role. It's found in service. It's found in doing what you were uniquely designed to do. Maybe your purpose is to teach, to create, to inspire, to protect, to heal, to build, or whatever it is. When you walk in it, you light up the world. Purpose doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It's that thing that keeps you awake at night. That idea that won't go away. That dream that feels too big to be yours. That's purpose. In the moment you stop running from it, your life will start to align in ways you never imagined. But you gotta protect your purpose. Because the world will try to distract you, discourage you, and discredit you. People who don't understand their own purpose will try to pull you away from yours. Don't let them. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're obsessed. But they don't see what you see. They don't hear what you hear. Purpose is between you and God. Nobody else has to understand it. And when you finally lock into your purpose, you'll realize greatness was never about being better than others. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about giving everything you got to what you were born to do. Greatness isn't about fame. It's about impact. It's about leaving something behind that outlives you. Purpose gives you endurance. It gives you patience when things move slow. It gives you peace when things don't go your way. You stop living for likes and start living for legacy. You stop chasing attention and start chasing intention. That's when you know purpose has taken over. When you no longer need applause to keep going. There's a version of you that the world hasn't seen yet. The version that shows up when you're walking in your purpose. That's the version that's unbreakable, unstoppable, undeniable. That's the version that doesn't quit when it's hard, that doesn't shrink when it's uncomfortable. Purpose pulls that version out of you. And once you taste purpose, you can't go back to ordinary. You can't go back to living without direction. You can't go back to chasing things that don't matter, because you'll realize you weren't created to just survive. You were created to make a difference. So if you feel lost, if you feel stuck, don't give up. You're not broken. You're being built. You're not late. You're being prepared. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour, it's all part of the process of finding and fueling your purpose. When the nights get dark, remind yourself, this pain has a purpose. When people doubt you, remind yourself, this rejection is redirection. When you feel tired, remind yourself, this exhaustion means I'm growing. Because purpose doesn't just fuel greatness, it creates greatness. The greatest tragedy is not dying. It's dying without ever living your purpose. So wake up, get focused, Get hungry, stop existing and start living. Stop chasing what's easy and start pursuing what's eternal. Because when your life is powered by purpose, no mountain is too high, no storm too strong, and no failure final. Purpose is the fuel of greatness. And once you find it, you'll realize you were never chasing success. Only 1% keep searching for their purpose after failure, rejection, and disappointment. The truth is, most people quit the moment life gets hard. They stop when the doors don't open, when the world doesn't clap, when their effort doesn't seem to pay off. But the 1%, those rare souls who make history, who change lives, who rise from ashes, they keep searching. They refuse to believe that pain is the end of their story. They understand that purpose is not found in the comfort zone, but in the chaos, confusion, and persistence of searching, even when everything around you says to stop. You see, everyone starts the journey excited. Everyone begins with hope, with dreams, with energy. But what separates the 1% from the rest is what happens after the dream doesn't go as planned. The 99% get discouraged. They take failure personally. They start thinking maybe they're not good enough. Maybe it's not meant for them. They start listening to doubt, to fear, to the opinions of others. They stop searching because they mistake delay for denial. But the 1%, they keep going. They don't quit because they understand every rejection is just a redirection toward their real purpose. Failure doesn't break the 1%. It builds them. It doesn't scare them, it sharpens them, it sharpens them. Every no they hear, every door that closes, every person that leaves, it becomes fuel because they know that purpose is hidden behind the lessons of struggle. The 1% keep searching because they believe that their life has meaning even when life feels meaningless. They know that if they stop now, they'll never discover who they were truly meant to be. Listen to me, searching for your purpose is not a one-day decision. It's a lifelong mission. The 1% understand that finding purpose is like mining gold. You don't find it on the surface. You have to dig deep, break through rock, get dirty, and stay patient. The deeper you dig, the closer you get. And when you finally find it, it's worth every scar, every sleepless night, every tear you cried wondering if it was worth it. The 99% want purpose to come easy. They want signs, shortcuts, and simple answers. But purpose doesn't work like that. It hides itself until you're ready to handle it. It watches how you react to pain, to loneliness, to failure. It waits to see if you'll keep searching when the applause stops. And when you prove that you can be faithful in the dark, that's when purpose begins to reveal itself in the light. The 1% don't let failure define them. They let it refine them. They treat every obstacle as a test, every setback as a setup. When something goes wrong, they don't ask, why me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because they know that life isn't happening to them. It's happening for them. Every challenge, part of the process that molds them into who they're meant to become. You have to understand something. Searching for your purpose is going to be lonely. You'll lose people along the way. You'll outgrow places, relationships, and even versions of yourself. But that's the price of growth. You can't find who you're meant to be while clinging to who you used to be. The 1% don't fear change, they embrace it. They understand that evolution is the evidence of purpose. And hear me clearly, failure is not the opposite of purpose. Failure is the pathway to it. Every great person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. They didn't quit when things didn't go their way. They didn't stop searching when doors closed. They knocked again. They built new doors. They kept believing that their story wasn't over. That's why they're part of the 1%. Most people stop searching because they want certainty. But the 1% live with faith. They walk when the road isn't clear. They trust that even though they can't see the whole picture, every step is leading them somewhere meaningful. They understand that the pain they feel now is shaping the strength they'll need later. They trust that purpose doesn't come to comfortable. It comes to the consistent. Let me tell you something. The reason only 1% keep searching is because it hurts to keep going when nothing's working. It hurts to keep believing when all you see is loss. It hurts to keep trusting when life keeps breaking your heart. But that pain, that's the price of greatness. That's the fire that forges purpose. You can't get to your destiny without walking through difficulty. You can't get to your promise without surviving the process. The 1% know that when life knocks you down, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to discover you. Every time you rise again, you uncover a new piece of who you are. Every time you fail and get back up, you're building the character, can carry your purpose. Most people stop because they think pain means it's over, but the 1% understand pain means it's beginning. Pain is proof that you're on the path to something that matters. The 99% stop searching because they compare their journey to others. They see someone else winning and think, maybe it's not for me. But the 1% understand that purpose is personal. It's not a race. It's not a competition. It's a calling. You can't measure your path using someone else's pace. What's meant for you will never pass you, but you have to keep walking to find it. You don't find purpose sitting still. You find it by moving, by trying, by failing, by learning, by trying again. Every experience, every mistake, every struggle is a clue. The 1% are detectives of destiny. They search through every season for the message behind the madness. They don't run from difficulty, they study it. Because they know that purpose often hides behind the very thing you fear the most. Sometimes the 1% don't even realize they're close to finding it. The night is darkest right before the sunrise, and most people quit right before they're about to break through. The 1% endure that last mile, that last moment of doubt, that last test. And that's when the door opens. That's when they realize all the pain had a purpose all along. You might not know what your purpose is right now, and that's okay. But never stop searching. Don't settle for survival when you were made for significance. Keep asking, keep learning, keep growing. The world doesn't need more people who gave up. It needs more people who refuse to. It needs people who will stand up after every failure and say, I still believe there's something in me worth finding. That's what makes the 1% different. They don't stop searching just because it's hard. They don't stop when they feel lost. They don't stop when they're tired. They keep going because they know that what's waiting on the other side of the pain is purpose. And purpose is worth every ounce of effort it takes to find it. The world will test you to see if you truly want it. You'll face rejection, betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment. You'll question everything, your worth, your talent, your dreams. But when you choose to keep searching anyway, you're telling the universe, I won't be denied. That kind of determination's magnetic. It draws opportunity, it attracts alignment, it opens doors you never even knew existed. And when you finally find your purpose, you'll look back and realize it was never lost. It was always there, buried under fear, doubt, and comfort. You just had to keep digging long enough to uncover it. You had to become strong enough to carry it. You had to become wise enough to live it. So if you're in the middle of searching right now, don't give up. Don't let failure fool you into quitting. Don't let fear convince you that your story is over. You are one step away from discovering something that could change your life forever. Keep searching when others stop. Keep believing when others doubt. Keep moving when others rest. Because only 1% keep searching. And only that 1% ever find what they were truly made for. And when you finally find it, you understand why it took so long, why it hurt so much, and why it was worth it all. Because purpose isn't handed to the strongest or the smartest. It's revealed to the one who never stops searching. Comfort kills calling. That one sentence can explain why most people never reach their full potential. The moment life becomes too easy, dreams start to die quietly. The second comfort enters. Comfort is seductive. It feels good, it feels safe, it feels peaceful. But what most people don't understand is that comfort is a silent killer. It destroys passion, weakens purpose, and blinds you to the potential that lives inside you. Every great dream ever achieved was born in discomfort. Every world changer had to walk through pain, uncertainty, and sacrifice before stepping into their calling. But the problem is, most people choose comfort over calling, ease over evolution, and safety over significance. See, comfort feels nice because it doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't challenge you. It doesn't test you. It lets you stay the same, do the same, and expect the same. But your calling, your purpose, your destiny, they all require pressure. Diamonds aren't created in calm environments. They're made under intense heat and pressure. So how can you expect to discover your greatness while living in the soft pillow of comfort? People say they want to change their lives. They don't want to change their habits. They say they want to grow, but they don't want to go through the growing pains. They want the reward without the risk, the crown without the cross, the victory without the valley. And that's why they stay stuck. Because comfort has a way of making you forget that you were made for more. It whispers, refine here, don't risk it, don't stretch too far, don't dream too big. Comfort convinces you that average is acceptable, that safety is success, that mediocrity is peace. But the truth is, comfort isn't peace, it's paralysis. Your calling isn't found in the easy places of life. It's found in the moments when you're uncomfortable, uncertain, and afraid, but still willing to move forward. Every time you push through fear, you get closer to your calling. Every time you take a step into the unknown, you grow. But if you keep choosing comfort, you'll never discover the parts of yourself that were made for greatness. Let me tell you something. The people who changed the world were uncomfortable. They were misunderstood, criticized, doubted, and rejected. But they kept going. Why? Because their calling was louder than their comfort. They understood that the pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. They refused to let the fear of discomfort rob them of their destiny. You cannot fulfill a big calling with a small mindset. And a small mindset always hides behind comfort. It says, I'll do it when it feels right. I'll start when I'm ready. I'll try when it's easier. But here's the truth. It will never feel right. You'll never feel ready and will never get easier. Growth only happens when you move while you're afraid, when you work while you're tired, when you keep going even when you don't know the outcome. That's where calling begins. Encourage, not comfort. Comfort teaches you to settle. It makes you okay when the good enough. It makes you forget that excellence is your responsibility. It convinces you that tomorrow is promised, that you have time to waste. But your calling can't wait for comfort. Every time you choose comfort today, you delay your destiny tomorrow. Every time you say it may be later, you lose another piece of the purpose that was planted in you. The truth is, life doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage. Comfort zones may keep you safe, but they'll never keep you fulfilled. That's why so many people feel empty, even when life seems fine. They're living in a box too small for their potential. They're surviving instead of thriving. You can decorate your comfort zone all you want, but it's still a cage. And your calling is waiting for you to step out of it. When you look at every great story, you'll see the same pattern. Discomfort leads to discovery. The moment you step outside what feels familiar, that's when you start to grow. That's when you learn what you're capable of. That's when you find strength you never knew you had. But you'll never find that strength sitting in comfort. Growth demands pressure. Progress demands pain. Success demands sacrifice. And I'm not telling you that you have to live in misery. I'm telling you that you have to be willing to face temporary discomfort to unlock permanent purpose. The people who live with fire in their soul are the ones who walk through the fire of struggle. They didn't avoid pain. They allowed it to shape them. They didn't run from challenges. They used them as fuel. Every time life said, stay safe, they said, no, I was made for more. Comfort doesn't just kill calling. It kills creativity. When you get too comfortable, you stop imagining, you stop dreaming, you stop innovating. You become satisfied with what you've already done instead of excited about what you could still do. That's why so many people stop growing after they reach a little bit of success. Because comfort feels like arrival. But there is no arrival when it comes to purpose. There's always another level, another mountain, another mission. The moment you stop stretching, you start shrinking, And here's what most people don't realize. Your comfort zone is not where you're safe. It's where you slowly die. You might not feel it at first, but over time, you start losing your spark. You start losing your drive. You start settling for less than what you deserve. You start saying it's fine at the things that are breaking your spirit. That's not peace. That's resignation. That's your potential begging for oxygen while comfort keeps you asleep. The reason comfort is dangerous is because it disguises itself as happiness. It makes you think you're okay because nothing hurts right now. But comfort today leads to pain tomorrow. Growth today leads to peace tomorrow. You have to choose which pain you want. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of stretching or the pain of settling. The pain of progress or the pain of potential wasted. Your calling will always challenge your comfort. It will ask you to do things you don't feel ready for. It will push you into situations that scare you. It will test your patience, your persistence, your pride. Because your calling isn't trying to make you comfortable. It's trying to make you capable. The version of you that can walk fully in your purpose doesn't exist yet. You have to go through pressure, trials, and tests to become that person. That's why discomfort is necessary. It's the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. Every time you say yes to your calling, you'll lose something comfortable. You might lose friends who don't understand. You might lose routines that once made you feel secure. You might lose stability for a season, but every loss in comfort is a gain in growth. Every step away from safety is a step toward destiny. Every uncomfortable moment is shaping the character that your calling requires. Look at your life right now. What areas have you been protecting out of comfort? What dreams have you buried because they scared you? What habits are keeping you stuck because they feel easy? Be honest, because until you confront your comfort, you'll never walk in your calling. Your purpose will not meet you where it's easy. It will meet you where you're willing to evolve. It's not supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to stretch you. You're supposed to feel uncertain, nervous, even afraid. That means you're moving in the right direction. The pain of discomfort is proof that you're growing. Every time you break a limit, every time you push past fear, every time you take a step when your legs are shaking, that's you stepping closer to your calling. Don't let comfort fool you into thinking you're living. You're not alive just because you're breathing. You're alive when you're growing, when you're risking, when you're chasing something bigger than yourself. You were not born to play it safe. You were born to leave an impact, to live boldly, to walk in purpose. And that will never happen inside your comfort zone. So I'm telling you, get uncomfortable. Do the thing that scares you. Say yes to the challenge. Take the risk. Have the hard conversation. Move when it doesn't make sense. Because the moment you stop chasing comfort, you start chasing calling. The moment you stop hiding from pain, you start walking toward purpose. Comfort will always offer you a chair, but your calling will offer you wings. Don't sit when you were born to fly. The people who change the world, who inspire generations, who live with fire, they all have one thing in common. They chose their calling over their comfort. They were willing to be uncomfortable for a season to live unstoppable for a lifetime. And that's what you got to decide today. Do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be called? Because you can't be both. Comfort kills calm, but courage fulfills it. Chaos comes before clarity. That's the truth most people never understand until life shakes them hard enough to reveal it. Everyone wants clarity. They want to know exactly what they're meant to do, where they're supposed to go, and how everything will work out. But life doesn't hand out blueprints. It hands out battles. It doesn't give you clarity first, it gives you chaos. Because clarity is not something you start with. It's something you earn through the storms, confusion, and uncertainty that test your faith. The reason most people never find their true direction is because they run from chaos. The moment life gets messy, they panic. The moment the plan doesn't make sense, they quit. But what they don't realize is that the chaos is part of the process. It's the stage where everything feels like it's falling apart. But in reality, it's falling into place. Clarity is born from chaos because chaos exposes what truly matters. It strips away the noise, the distractions, and the illusions so that only truth remains. You can't grow in clarity until you've gone through confusion. Confusion forces you to think, to question, to search deeper within yourself. It makes you confront who you really are and what you truly want. Without chaos, you would never have the reason to look inward. Without darkness, you would never appreciate light. Chaos is the training ground for vision. It prepares your eyes to see clearly when the fog lifts. Look back at every major breakthrough in your life. Before things became clear, they were chaotic. Before you understood your path, you were lost. Before you found peace, you battled storms. That's how growth works. Life doesn't reveal purpose when things are easy. It reveals purpose when you're being tested. You don't discover clarity while everything's calm. You find it when you're fighting to make sense of what seems senseless. The problem is we're conditioned to believe that chaos means something's wrong. We think confusion is a curse, that uncertainty is failure. But in reality, chaos is life's classroom. It's where the lessons are taught that no book, no mentor, no motivation can give you. Chaos teaches patience, humility, and trust. It teaches you that control is an illusion, that strength isn't about having the answers. It's about continuing even when you don't. Clarity isn't a light switch. It's a sunrise. It doesn't come all at once. It breaks through gradually, moment by moment, lesson by lesson, struggle by struggle. And if you quit in the chaos, you never see the dawn. The 1% who live with clarity are the ones who learned how to stand firm in the storm. They didn't run when things got messy. They kept believing that somewhere in the madness there was meaning. You have to understand, chaos is not your enemy. It's your sculptor. It's shaping you, refining you, burning away the parts of you that can't carry the weight of your destiny. When everything feels uncertain, it's because life is rearranging your reality to match your higher purpose. You ask for growth, and chaos is the answer. You prayed for clarity, and chaos is the process. The road to clarity will always run through confusion. When life becomes chaotic, you learn who you really are. You learn what you can endure. You learn which voices to trust and which to silence. You learn to depend less on what you see and more on what you believe. That's how faith grows. Faith isn't built in peace. It's built in pressure. When everything around you is falling apart and you still choose to stand, that's when clarity starts to take shape. Shape about a seed buried in the dirt. From the outside, it looks like destruction. Everything's dark, tight, and silent. But inside that chaos, something is happening. The seed is breaking open so something new can grow. That's exactly how life works. Sometimes you're not being buried, you're being planted. The chaos isn't meant to kill you, it's meant to grow you. But here's what most people do. When chaos hits, they run back to comfort. They hide, they complain, they give up. They tell themselves it's not meant to be. But the truth is, they walked away right before clarity arrived. The people who find clarity are the ones who stay still in the storm, who breathe through the confusion, who trust that even though they can't see it yet, something good is forming out of the chaos. Clarity doesn't come from controlling the chaos, it comes from surrendering to it. The more you fight to make sense of everything, the more frustrated you'll be. Sometimes you have to stop trying to fix everything and start trusting the process. You have to let go of the illusion that you need all the answers before you take the next step. Clarity comes to those who move by faith. Chaos also has a way of exposing false paths. Sometimes you think you know what you want until life shakes it. Chaos will test your motives. It will ask you, but do you really want this? Are you doing it for love or for validation? Are you chasing purpose or approval? Chaos cleans your vision. It removes everything that's not real, everything that's not aligned, everything that's not necessary. And what's left after that? That's clarity. When you're walking through chaos, it feels endless. Every day feels heavy. Every choice feels wrong. You question your value, your ability, your strength. But one day, without warning, you'll look back and realize the chaos taught you everything you needed. It taught you resilience. It taught you patience. It taught you to listen to your intuition instead of your insecurity. That's what clarity really is. Wisdom born from the storm. You don't get clarity by waiting for perfect conditions. You get it by moving through imperfect ones. You get it by taking the next right step, even when you don't know where it will lead. You get it by trusting that if you just keep going, life will reveal what you need to see when you're ready to see it. When you're ready to see it. Clarity doesn't come to the passive. It comes to the persistent. Sometimes chaos is just life clearing out what you've outgrown. You're holding on to people, jobs, and habits that no longer serve you. Chaos comes to break what you won't release. That's not punishment. That's preparation. The universe removes what can't go with you before it reveals what's next for you. You just have to trust that the shaking is sacred. It's easy to have faith when life makes sense, but real clarity grows in moments of confusion. When your heart is broken, but you still choose hope. When the plans, but you still choose effort. When you can't see the way, but you still take the step. That's where clarity is born. The chaos breaks your dependence on certainty and builds your dependence on courage. And here's the thing, clarity doesn't always come as a loud revelation. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a subtle shift in your heart that said, this is where I'm supposed to be. Sometimes it's just peace after a season of chaos. You don't always see it coming. You just realize one day the storm didn't destroy you. It defines you. So don't curse your chaos. Embrace it. It's the space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's the bridge between confusion and clarity. It's not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're growing. You ask for purpose, and purpose always comes wrapped in chaos first. You ask for vision, and vision always comes through the fog first. When everything feels uncertain, hold on. When everything's falling apart, stay grounded. When everything's confusing, Trust that clarity is on its way. The storm won't last forever. The fog will lift. The pieces will come together. And when they do, you'll see that every chaotic moment had a purpose. You'll realize that what felt like destruction was actually direction. Chaos comes before clarity because the storm has to break you before it builds you. The confusion has to humble you before wisdom can guide you. The uncertainty has to test you before faith can strengthen you. So when you find yourself in chaos, don't run, lean in. That's where the answers are forming. That's where your purpose is being revealed. That's where clarity is being born. Pain refines your purpose. Most people run from pain because they see it as punishment, not realizing it's the very process that shapes who they are meant to become. Pain isn't here to destroy you, it's here to develop you. Every struggle, every heartbreak, every setback, every sleepless night, they're all chiseling away at the parts of you that don't belong to your destiny. The truth is, purpose doesn't grow in comfort. It's born in pain. Pain is the classroom where strength, discipline, and clarity are taught. Without it, you would never discover how powerful you truly are. When life hurts, your first instinct is to ask, why me? But a better question is, what is this teaching me? Because pain is never wasted when you learn from it. It's the fire that burns away weakness, doubt, and fear, leaving only the version of you that's capable of carrying greatness. You can't fulfill a powerful purpose with a fragile spirit. And that's why pain comes first. It refines your focus, humbles your heart, and reveals your truth. The world tells you to avoid pain, to take the easy route, to chase comfort. But the people who truly rise, the 1% who live with passion and conviction, are those who have walked through pain and let it transform them. They've learned to see pain not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity. They understand that pain is not the end of their story. It's the beginning of a new one. The pain you feel today is preparing you for the strength you'll need tomorrow. Think about it. Every meaningful success story has pain behind it. Every athlete who stands on a podium has fought through injuries, defeats, and doubt. Every entrepreneur who built an empire started with failure, rejection, and long nights of struggle. Every person with deep wisdom has walked through heartbreak, loss, and disappointment. Pain refines their purpose because it strips away the superficial and forces them to focus on what truly matters. Pain exposes your limits and then dares you to go beyond them. It shows you what you can survive, what you can endure, and what you can overcome. It takes the theory of strength and turns it into reality. Without pain, resilience is just a word. But when you've been knocked down and refuse to stay there, that's when purpose begins to breathe inside you. Pain teaches you that you're stronger than your excuses, tougher than your fears, and more capable than you imagine. There's something sacred about pain. It brings you closer to yourself. When you're in pain, all the noise fades away. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You stop chasing approval. You get real. You start listening to your soul, to that small voice inside that whispers truth when everything else screams confusion. Pain removes the masks and reveals your authentic self, the one that's not motivated by comfort, by calling. When you understand that pain refines purpose, you stop asking for an easy life. You start asking for strength to handle a meaningful one. Because purpose always comes with a price. You cannot become who you're meant to be without letting go of who you were. That transformation hurts. Growth hurts. Letting go hurts. But so does staying stuck. So does living below your potential. Pain is inevitable, but progress is optional. The 1%, the people who live with purpose, don't see pain as something to avoid. They see it as something to absorb. They use it. They turn it into fuel. They understand that every tear, every scar, every sleepless night has a message. They ask, what is this shaping them? What strength is being built through this struggle? Because purpose isn't about what you gain. It's about who you become through the pain. Sometimes pain is the only thing that gets your attention. You don't change when things are easy. You change when things get uncomfortable. Pain wakes you up. It forces you to move. It makes you question the path you're on, the people you're with, and the choices you've been making. Without pain, you stay in situations that don't serve you. Pain pushes you to evolve. It's life's way of saying, there's more in you. Get up, grow. It's easy to talk about purpose when everything's going right. But true purpose is tested in the fire. When everything's falling apart, when your heart is breaking, when you're exhausted and still have to show up. That's when your purpose is refined. That's when your why becomes unshakable. Pain burns away the shallow reasons and leaves you with something pure, something real, something that can't be taken from you. You see, there's a reason diamonds are made under pressure and gold is refined by fire. The value comes through the process. You're no different. The greater your purpose, the greater the pressure. But the pressure isn't there to crush you. It's there to reveal your brilliance. It's there to strengthen your foundation so you can carry the weight of the calling on your life. Pain prepares you for the blessings you've been asking for. Some of your greatest growth will come from your greatest pain. That heartbreak that nearly broke you, it taught you self-worth. That failure that embarrassed you, it taught you resilience. That season of loneliness, it taught you independence. That betrayal, it taught you boundaries. Pain refines your character so that when your moment arrives, you're ready. You're grounded, you're wise, you're unshakable. But you have to allow pain to do its work. Don't numb it with distractions. Don't rush through it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist. Sit with it, learn from it. Ask it what it's trying to show you. Pain has wisdom that comfort will never teach. Pain introduces you to strength you didn't know you had. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Too many people waste pain because they only focus on the suffering, not the shaping. They complain, they resist, they quit halfway. They don't realize that every trial has treasure hidden inside it, if they'd only stay long enough to find it. Every challenge carries a message, every heartbreak holds a lesson, and every failure contains a seed of transformation. You just have to be willing to look beyond the surface. Sometimes pain refines your purpose by removing people who can't go where you're going. It isolates you so you can hear your own voice again. It silences the noise so you can reconnect with your truth. That loneliness you feel isn't punishment, it's pruning. It's life cutting away everything that's not aligned with your next chapter. The process hurts, but it's necessary. Because you can't step into your purpose carrying old weight. When you come out of pain, you see differently. You speak differently, you live differently. You have empathy because you suffered. You have courage because you've been scared. You have wisdom because you've made mistakes. Pain gives you perspective. It refines not only your purpose, but also your heart. It softens the hard edges and sharpens your vision. If you look at people who inspire you, who made real impact, none of them got there without pain. Their greatness wasn't built in comfort. It was built in struggle, in rejection, and failure, and heartbreak. The difference between them and everyone else isn't talent. It's their relationship with pain. They didn't let it make them bitter. They let it make them better. So, if you're in pain right now, understand that it's not a sign that you're off track. It's a sign that you're being refined. The greater the fire, the greater the purpose on the other side. You might not see it yet, but one day you'll look back and realize the pain was necessary. It broke your pride, but it built your perseverance. It broke your comfort, but it built your character. It broke your plans, but it revealed your purpose. Don't waste your pain. Let it mold you, strengthen you, and guide you. Every time you choose to grow through pain, instead of run from it, you align more deeply with your purpose. Because pain doesn't come to destroy your destiny, it comes to define it. And when the process is over, when the fire has done its work, you'll emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive than ever before. The 1% understand that pain is not the enemy. It's the evidence of transformation. It's the sign that something powerful is being born within you. So embrace it. Walk through it. Let it refine you. Because on the other side of pain lies purpose. And when that purpose is revealed, every tear, every scar, every sleepless night will make sense. Discipline defines destiny. Talent may open the door, but discipline keeps it open. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you moving when the feeling fades. Every dream you have, every goal you set, every purpose you want to live, it all depends on your discipline. People talk about wanting success, greatness, and impact, but few are willing to pay the price of consistency. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers, the 99% from the 1%. You see, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not loud, exciting, or Instagram worthy. Discipline happens in silence, in the early mornings when no one's watching, in the long nights when everyone else has gone home, in the moments when quitting would be easier, but you choose to keep going anyway. Discipline is the daily grind, the small steps, the repetition that builds mastery. It's the difference between wishing and working. The truth is, most people rely on motivation. But life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who work. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. Feelings come and go, but discipline stays. You can't control how you feel every day, but you can control what you do. And when your actions stay consistent, regardless of emotions, that's when transformation begins. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. It might sound like a paradox, but it's true. Without discipline, you become a slave to your impulses. You eat what feels good. You procrastinate because it's easy. You give up when it's hard. And all of that keeps you trapped. But when you live with discipline, you gain control over your life. You make choices based on purpose, not pressure. You decide who you want to be, and then you align your habits to match that vision. The 1% don't have superhuman willpower. They just understand that discipline creates momentum. Every small act of consistency compounds into massive results. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you say no to distraction, you reinforce your focus. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself. And that trust becomes unstoppable confidence. Think about it. The greatest athletes, the most successful leaders, the most influential creators, they all built their success on discipline. They didn't get there by accident. They built systems, routines, and habits that supported their goals. They trained when they were tired. They studied when they were bored. They worked when others were relaxing. Discipline made them unstoppable. But discipline doesn't just shape success. It shapes character. It's not just about doing the hard things. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle the hard things. Discipline strengthens your mind, humbles your ego, and sharpens your focus. It teaches you to delay gratification, to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. Without it, purpose becomes a fantasy. With it, purpose becomes inevitable. Discipline also reveals truth. It shows you whether you really want something or if you just like the idea of it. Everyone says they want success until it demands sacrifice. Everyone says they want change until they realize it requires consistency. Discipline doesn't lie. It exposes your level of commitment. If you're not willing to be consistent, you don't want it badly enough. Because purpose without discipline is potential wasted. There will be days when you wake up tired, uninspired, or discouraged. Days when nothing goes right and giving up feels like the only option. But that's exactly where discipline speaks louder than emotion. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel ready. It reminds you of your reason. It's the inner voice that said, I made a commitment and I'm keeping it, no matter what. That's the mindset of the 1%. Discipline is also about alignment. It's not just about working hard. It's about working right. You can be busy, but not productive. You can hustle every day and still move in circles if your discipline isn't directed toward your purpose. True discipline means saying no to what doesn't serve you, even if it looks good. It means protecting your time, your energy, and your focus like they're sacred, because they are. You won't always see results immediately. That's why so many people quit, because discipline demands patience. The seeds you plant today don't grow overnight. It takes time, effort, and faith. But when you stay disciplined, your consistency compounds. Every effort builds upon the last. And one day when others are still wishing, you'll be living what you work for. Discipline is not just external, it's internal mastery. It's learning how to control your emotions, your thoughts, and your reactions. It's being calm when chaos hits, focused when distractions arise, and patient when progress is slow. Discipline gives you power over yourself, and that's the greatest form of power there is. When you control yourself, you control your destiny. Most people lose the battle not because they lack ability, but because they lack consistency. They start strong and fade fast. They make big promises, but small efforts. They underestimate how much repetition it takes to build greatness. The truth is, greatness isn't one big moment. It's thousands of small, disciplined moments stacked over time. Every day you show up, you're laying a brick. And eventually those bricks become a wall that no failure can break. Discipline also teaches respect for time, for effort, for growth. When you're disciplined, you stop taking shortcuts. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building something real. You begin to understand that success that comes easy doesn't last, but success earned through discipline stands forever. Pain and discipline often walk hand in hand. You'll sacrifice comfort, fun, and ease, but what you gain in return is purpose, freedom, and fulfillment. Every time you push through discomfort, you're telling your future self, I'm investing in you. And that investment pays dividends far greater than any momentary pleasure ever could. Discipline also inspires others. When people see your consistency, your commitment, and your refusal to quit, they're reminded that greatness is possible. Your discipline becomes a testimony. It speaks louder than motivation ever could. Because people don't follow words, they follow example. And nothing sets an example like relentless discipline. The truth is, discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. You will fall, you will fail, you will have off days. But discipline isn't about never missing, it's about never quitting. It's about getting back up every single time. It's about refusing to let one bad day erase a lifetime of progress. That's what defines destiny, not perfection, but perseverance. If you want to live a life of purpose, you must build the discipline to match your dreams. Because dreams are easy, discipline is rare. Everyone dreams of success. If you wake up early to work for it, everyone talks about purpose. Few sacrifice to live it. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is discipline. The willingness to do what others want so you can live how others can. There will come a day when your discipline pays off, when the doors that were once closed open effortlessly, when the opportunities that once felt out of reach come looking for you. When that day comes, you'll realize it wasn't luck, it was consistency. It wasn't talent, it was discipline. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. Start small. Show up every day. Keep your word. Keep your focus. Keep your fire. Just discipline is what turns purpose into reality. Discipline defines destiny, and the moment you choose it, you've already begun to shape yours. Faith fuels perseverance. It's the invisible force that keeps you moving when everything around you says stop. It's what whispers to keep going when your mind screams to give up. Faith is not blind optimism or empty hope. It's the deep, unshakable belief that there's meaning beyond the madness, that your effort matters, and that your breakthrough is on the other side of your endurance. Without faith, perseverance dies in the storm. With faith, you walk through the storm knowing the sun will rise again. Every great purpose demands faith because the path to purpose is never straight. It's full of setbacks, confusion, and pain. There will be moments when nothing makes sense, when you're doing everything right and still not seeing results. Those moments aren't meant to break you. They're meant to build your faith, because faith is what holds you together when logic can't. Faith gives you the strength to keep walking even when the path disappears beneath your feet. Most people quit not because they lack strength, but because they lose belief. The dream gets hard, the progress slows down, the world starts doubting them, and they start doubting themselves. But the 1% who truly live their purpose understand this truth. Faith isn't something you use when it's easy. It's something you lean on when it's impossible. Faith is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you're meant to be. Faith doesn't remove the pain, it gives the pain purpose. It tells you that every struggle has meaning, every delay has direction, and every failure has a lesson. It helps you see that what feels like a setback might actually be a setup. Faith transforms obstacles into opportunity, wounds into wisdom, and waiting into preparation. It keeps your heart alive when your circumstances look dead. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting that the answers will come when you're ready for them. It's knowing that the plan is bigger than your perspective. It's understanding that you're not walking this road alone, even when you feel like you are. Faith says, I can't see it yet, but I know it's coming. That kind of faith is power. That kind of faith keeps you steady when everything else shakes. When life hits you with storms, faith becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded when the winds of doubt try to blow you off course. It reminds you of who you are, what you've survived, and why you started. Faith doesn't guarantee comfort, but it guarantees strength. It doesn't promise an easy road, but it promises that you'll never walk it empty-handed. You can't persevere through something you don't believe in. That's why faith is essential, because belief gives birth to endurance. You push through the pain because you believe there's purpose behind it. You keep showing up because you believe your effort will eventually pay off. You stay in the fight because you believe that your destiny is worth the struggle. It's faith in action. Not passive waiting, but active endurance. Faith is not loud. It doesn't need it. Sometimes faith is quiet. It's the tear that falls as you whisper, "I'll try again tomorrow." It's the small prayer you say when your strength is gone. It's the moment you choose to stand one more time when no one will blame you for staying down. That's real faith. Not something you just speak, but something you live. That faith also humbles you. It reminds you that you're not in control of everything. And that's okay. You can do your best, give your all, and still need to trust the timing. Faith teaches you patience. It teaches you surrender. It teaches you that sometimes the delay is not denial, it's development. The waiting season is where faith matures. It's where you learn to depend less on your plan and more on the process. Every time you choose faith over fear, you grow stronger. Every time you choose belief over doubt, your perseverance deepens. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you won't let fear dictate your decision. Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Faith focuses on what could go right. Faith focuses on what could go right. Fear paralyzed. It says, "Oh, what if I fail?" Faith says, "What if I fly?" There's a reason why most people don't finish what they start. Because perseverance without faith feels pointless. You can't endure if you don't believe there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can't sacrifice if you don't believe it'll be worth it. You can't stay consistent if you don't believe your effort matters. That's why the 1% cultivate faith, because it fuels their fire when everything else fades. Faith doesn't mean you'll always understand what's happening. Sometimes it means walking through darkness with nothing but trust. It means holding on when you don't know how long the storm will last. It means believing that the pain has purpose even when you can't see it yet. Faith said, even if I don't see the way, I'll still take the step. That's how you build perseverance, one faithful step at a time. You can't fake faith. It's proven in the moments of testing. When everything goes wrong, when your plans fall apart, when the world laughs at your dreams. That's when faith either breaks or blossoms. And if you stay true in those moments, if you keep walking even through the darkness, your faith becomes unshakable. That's the kind of faith that builds destiny. Faith doesn't remove the weight of the journey, but it gives you the will to carry it. It keeps you from giving up when progress feels invisible. It gives you strength to get up after every failure and say, "This isn't the end." Faith transforms pain into power. It turns obstacles into evidence. Evidence that you're still standing, still believing, still moving forward. The 1% who live with purpose understand that faith is not passive, it's power in motion. They act even when they're uncertain. They build even when they don't have all the tools. They start even when they can't see the finish line. Because faith without action is fantasy. Real faith works. It creates movement, momentum, and miracles. When you walk by faith, you stop measuring your worth by immediate results. You stop getting discouraged when things take time. You stop comparing your journey to others. You start trusting that your path is unfolding exactly as it should. You stop rushing and start resting, not in laziness, but in assurance. Assurance that your work, your pain, and your perseverance all have meaning. Faith doesn't make the journey shorter, it makes it stronger. It gives you a reason to keep showing up. It gives you peace when progress is slow. It gives you hope when doors close. It teaches you to believe in timing, in growth, in unseen possibilities. Faith tells you that just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Sometimes faith will make you look crazy. You'll believe in things no one else sees. You'll chase dreams others call impossible. You'll keep building when others tell you to stop. But that's the essence of faith, is vision without validation. It's believing before the proof. The world might call it foolishness, but purpose calls it focus. And here's the truth. Faith isn't built in success. It's built in struggle. You don't learn to trust when everything's perfect. You learn to trust when everything's uncertain. When you've cried, failed, fallen, and still chosen to rise, that's where faith becomes real. Faith is forged in fire, not comfort. It's tested in the nights when nothing makes sense, when you're tired, when you feel forgotten, and yet you still believe. If you hold on to faith long enough, perseverance becomes second nature. You stop questioning if and start trusting a win. You stop doubting your destiny and start aligning with it. You stop worrying about how far you've got to go and start celebrating how far you've come. Faith gives you that inner peace, the kind that says, even in the waiting, I'm growing. Faith fuels perseverance because it shifts your focus from outcome to purpose. It reminds you that the process itself is sacred. It's not just about reaching the destination. It's about who you become on the journey. Faith teaches you to see every obstacle as an opportunity for evolution. It builds patience, humility, and resilience. When you live with faith, you understand that perseverance isn't about never falling. It's about rising every time you do. You start seeing delays not as defeats, but as divine redirection. You begin to trust that everything is working for you, not against you. That's when peace enters your struggle. That's when perseverance becomes powerful, because it's fueled not by fear of failure, but by faith and purpose. So when life tests you, when the odds are against you, when you stand in the middle of the storm, hold your faith tight. Because faith doesn't promise an easy path, but it guarantees a meaningful one. It won't always make sense, but it will always make you stronger. Keep walking, keep believing, keep persevering, because the one on to faith when everyone else lets go. They're the ones who rise, the ones who lead, the ones who fulfill their purpose. Faith fuels perseverance, and perseverance fulfills destiny. When you finally discover your purpose, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for permission from people, from circumstances, from fear itself. You begin to realize that your purpose was never about fitting into the world's plan. It was about building your own. You stop asking for validation because you finally understand that your purpose validates you. It gives you an authority that no title, no degree, and no applause can ever give. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently, because now you're not running from failure. You're running toward destiny. Purpose has that power. It turns ordinary individuals into unstoppable forces of change. Before purpose, life feels like a maze. You move, but you're lost. You chase opportunities, but nothing fills the void. You achieve goals, yet you still feel empty. But when you find your purpose, everything clicks. You stop chasing what's temporary and start building what's eternal. Purpose takes your pain and transforms it into power. It takes your failures and turns them into lessons. It takes your fears and makes them fuel. Once you see why you were created, you stop asking, "Oh, why me?" and start saying, "Try me." That's what happens when you cross over from seeking to knowing one way. You see, purpose doesn't just light a fire in you. It turns you into the fire. People around you can feel it. They sense that you're not driven by applause or reward. You're driven by something deeper. You're not moving because it's easy. You're moving because it's necessary. When you have purpose, discipline becomes natural. Sacrifice becomes your language. You don't need someone to tell you to keep going. You just do because you understand what's at stake. You've seen the vision and now you can't unsee it. Purpose doesn't let you rest when you haven't reached your potential. Keeps whispering that there's more in you. And that's what separates the ones who make noise from the ones who make noise from ones who make history. The world is full of talkers, people who speak of dreams but never dare to live them. But when you find your purpose, you stop talking and start transforming. You stop being motivated by success and start being obsessed with impact. You begin to live a life that's bigger than you. People look at you differently because they can't understand why you're willing to work through pain, why you're willing to fail 1,000 times, why you're willing to stand alone. And the answer is simple. You found your why. You found the reason that makes every sacrifice worth it. When you find your purpose, you stop being reactive and start being proactive. You don't wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't look for leaders. You become one. You don't wait for inspiration. You are the inspiration. You start realizing that your existence isn't random. It's intentional. Every scar, every heartbreak, every delay was shaping you into the person who could carry the weight of that purpose. Nothing was wasted. The tears you cried in silence, the nights you doubted yourself, the failures that almost broke you, all of it was part of your preparation. Purpose never shows up before the pain. It's always born through it. That's why people who've truly found their purpose walk with quiet confidence. They've been through too much to doubt themselves now. They don't need the world to understand them. They just need to keep moving. Their focus is unshakable. Their fire unquenchable. They're not loud because they don't need to prove anything. Their work speaks. Their consistency speaks. Their growth speaks. They live in such a way that people can feel their purpose before they even open their mouths. And once you live like that, you start lifting others. Purpose isn't selfish. It's contagious. It pushes you to become the reason someone else doesn't give up. It transforms you from a follower into a light bearer. When people see you walk in your purpose, they start believing they can find theirs too. That's why purpose isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. You become strength. You become the proof that broken people can still build beautiful lives. Look around. Most people are surviving, not living. They wake up every day, go through routines, follow systems, but they're not alive inside. They accepted a version of life that's beneath what they're capable of. But purpose disrupts that comfort. It forces you to question everything. It doesn't let you settle for average when you're meant to be exceptional. It demands growth, courage, and faith. Purpose doesn't whisper sweet things to you. It challenges you, it pushes you, it breaks you so it can rebuild you stronger. And the moment you embrace that, you become powerful beyond measure. You realize that no obstacle can stop you. No rejection can define you. No delay can destroy you. Because purpose gives you a reason to rise after every fall. It gives meaning to your pain and direction to your struggle. It reminds you that what you're doing matters, even when nobody's watching. When you live with purpose, you stop chasing happiness and start building legacy. Happiness comes and goes, but legacy stays. Legacy is built by people who live with purpose so fierce that it outlived their own time. So don't let fear or doubt rob you of what you're meant to do. Don't let failure convince you that your story is over. If you're breathing, your purpose is still alive. And maybe you haven't found it yet because you've been searching in the wrong places. Purpose isn't out there, it's in you. It's not waiting for the right time, it's waiting to commit. You can't find it by waiting. You find it by walking, by trying, by falling, by learning. You find it when you stop running from who you are and start embracing who you're meant to become. When you find it, don't hide it. Don't minimize it for others to feel comfortable. Don't dim your light because others are afraid to shine. Your purpose is not negotiable. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out. You weren't created to follow trends. You were designed to set them. You weren't made to survive. You were made to lead, to build, to inspire. The world doesn't need more people playing small. It needs people who live big, who dream loud, who love deep, and who move with purpose. You might be in a season where you can't see the fruit of your effort, where nothing seems to work, where life feels heavy. But hold on, that's part of the process. Purpose doesn't reveal itself overnight. It's uncovered layer by layer through faith and perseverance. Keep walking, keep believing, keep fighting. Every step is shaping you. Every struggle is strengthening you. Every closed door is redirecting you. You're not behind. You're being built. And one day when you look back, you'll understand why it had to happen that way. You'll see how every trial was teaching you. Every loss was guiding you. Every delay was protecting you. You'll realize that you were never lost. You were being laid. That's what purpose does. It rewrites your pain into power and your confusion into clarity. It teaches you to trust the process even when it hurts, because you know it's taking you where you're meant to be. So hear me. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission. You don't need approval to be great. You don't need validation to walk in your calling. You just need to decide that your purpose is bigger than your excuses. Once you make that decision, you become unstoppable. You become light in dark places, hope in hopeless hearts, strength in weak moments. You become a leader, not because you have authority, but because you have authenticity. When you find your purpose, you become a force. People will follow, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. They'll see your scars and still believe because your scars prove that you did quit. That's the beauty of living with purpose. Your life itself becomes the message. You don't have to preach. You just have to live. You don't have to convince. You just have to be consistent. Purpose isn't about fame or money or recognition. It's about alignment. It's when your soul, your actions, and your dreams move in the same direction. And when that happens, life becomes powerful, peaceful, and passionate all at once. You wake up every day with gratitude because you know you're doing exactly what you were made to do. So be that person. Be that 1% who found their why and refused to let it go. Let your purpose lead you, guide you, break you, and rebuild you. Let it make you unstoppable. Because once you find it, once you truly live it, you won't just change your own life. You'll change the world. At the end of the day, everything you've been through, everything you've lost, every tear you've cried, every failure you've faced, it all comes down to one truth. You were being shaped for your purpose. All the pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every obstacle that tried to break you was actually building you. Every season of silence was teaching you how to hear your own voice. And every delay was giving you time to develop the strength, the discipline, and the faith to handle the weight of what's coming next. That's what purpose does. It refines you before it reveals itself to you. It tests your patience, your persistence, your belief. Because purpose isn't for the faint-hearted. It's for the ones who refuse to quit. When you finally reach that moment when things start to make sense, when you realize that every battle had meaning, you'll look back and smile. You'll see how the worst days pushed you toward the best version of yourself. You'll see how the people who walked away created space for those who truly belong. You'll see how your failures taught you lessons that success never could. That's when it clicks. Purpose was never about perfection. It was about progression. It was never about getting everything right. It was about refusing to give up even when everything felt wrong. And that's what separates you from the rest. The 99% stop when it hurts. But you kept going. You didn't stop searching when the road got dark. You didn't stop believing when doors closed. You didn't stop dreaming when the world told you to settle. You kept searching. You kept fighting. You kept believing that there was more. And that belief led you to purpose. You proved that the human spirit is stronger than circumstance, stronger than pain, stronger than fear. That's the mindset of the 1%. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They create them. They don't run from pressure. They perform under it. They don't seek comfort. They seek calling. Life will never stop testing you, but the difference now is that you know who you are and why you're here. You're no longer wandering aimlessly. You're walking intentionally. Every step has meaning. Every effort has value. Every challenge has purpose. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. Every day becomes a chance to move closer to the reason you were created. And that realization changes everything. Your focus, your relationships, your energy, your discipline. Purpose doesn't just guide what you do. It transforms who you are. But here's the truth. Purpose doesn't guarantee easy. It doesn't promise applause, comfort, or shortcuts. What it does promise is fulfillment. It promises peace in the middle of storms. It promises strength when you feel weak. It promises direction when you feel lost. And that peace, that strength, that direction, they're worth more than anything the world can give you. Because when you live with purpose, you stop chasing happiness and start living in meaning. You wake up every day knowing your life matters, knowing your work matters, knowing your story matters. That's a power few people ever experience. So never forget this. Your purpose was written before you were born. The world may try to distract you. Fear may try to silence you. And failure may try to break you. But none of it can erase what's already written for you. You just have to keep walking until your purpose and your persistence meet. You have to trust that even in silence, something inside you is growing. You may not see the results yet, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. Purpose grows underground before it shines in the light. It develops in private before it's revealed in public. That's why patience is part of the process. You can't rush destiny. You can only prepare for it. And when that moment finally arrives, when your purpose starts to show, when people begin to see what you've been fighting for, remember where you came from. Remember the nights you almost gave up. Remember the times you had nothing but faith. Remember how far you've come. That humility will keep you grounded. Because purpose isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about lifting others as you climb. It's about using your story to inspire someone else's breakthrough. It's about understanding that the same pain that once tried to destroy, you can now be the message that saves someone else. You've got to be willing to stand alone sometimes. The path of purpose isn't crowded because few have the courage to walk it. You'll lose people. You'll lose comfort. You'll lose the version of yourself that plays small. But what you gain will be worth it. You'll gain clarity. You'll gain clarity. You'll gain strength. You'll gain peace. You'll gain a sense of fulfillment that money can't buy and fame can't replace. You'll realize that the real reward was never the destination. It was who you became along the way. The process is the prize. So as you move forward, don't chase approval, don't chase perfection, don't chase shortcuts. Chase growth, chase depth, chase authenticity. Be the kind of person who moves with purpose even when no one's watching. Be the kind of person who refuses to let fear silence their vision. Be the kind of person who uses every setback as a setup for something greater. That's what living with purpose looks like. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's meaningful. And when you live that way, something beautiful happens. You start to inspire without even trying. Your life becomes a message. Your journey becomes an example. And your faith becomes an example. And your faith becomes contagious. You become the reason someone believes in their own potential. That's legacy. Legacy isn't what you leave behind when you die. It's what you give the world while you're alive. It's the change you create, the hearts you touch, the hope you spread. And that legacy begins the moment you choose to live with purpose. So, as this chapter closes, let this truth stay in your heart. You were never created to be average. You were never born to blend in. You were designed for greatness, built for impact, destined for more. But that destiny only comes alive when you align yourself with purpose. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself enough to keep searching, to keep fighting, to keep growing. Because the ones who change the world are not the most talented. They're the most purposeful. They're the ones who refuse to quit searching even when the world calls them crazy. They're the ones who find light in the darkest tunnels. They're the ones who turn pain into purpose and struggle into strength. They're the ones who rise every time they fall and keep moving forward because they know their life has meaning. And you are one of them. You are part of that 1%. The world may not understand you now, but one day they'll thank you for not giving up. One day your story will become someone's survival guide. One day your journey will remind others that purpose is worth the pain. So hold your head high, keep your faith strong, and keep your heart aligned. The road won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because when you live with purpose, you don't just exist, you evolve. You don't just make a living, you make a difference. And that, my friend, is the true measure of a life well lived.